Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're a junior finance professional right now, you know exactly what the grind feels like. I mean, you've got your eyes set on that next promotion, you want to be seen as a strategic partner to the business, but your day-to-day reality is probably quite different. Well, today, we're exploring some fascinating source material that reveals how mastering 5 very specific AI skills can completely automate all that manual grunt work holding you back. We're talking about fast-tracking your career from just doing the heavy lifting to actually leading the strategy. Let's dive in.
Let's be real for a second. Does this sound familiar? You're stuck repeating the exact same manual data grind every single month. The statements come in, you build the model, the numbers inevitably don't tie, so you have to reconcile them, you test the controls, document the work, and then next month or next quarter, it's the exact same sequence, just with different data. You're constantly rebuilding workflows, mapping line items, and just hunting for broken spreadsheet formulas. It's exhausting. And let's be honest, that is not the high-value analysis that actually gets you promoted. Leadership doesn't promote people for copying and pasting data well, right? They promote people who provide actual insights.
So, here is our roadmap for today. We're going to cover 1. The junior analyst trap. 2. Automating financial models. 3. Bulletproof reconciliations and audits. 4. Building dynamic dashboards. 5. Crafting board-ready presentations. And finally, 6. Moving from manual to strategic.
All right, starting with Section 1, the junior analyst trap. Stop prompting, start scaling.
Okay, to actually break out of this manual grind, we have to stop treating AI like a simple chatbot where you just, type in a prompt and cross your fingers. We need to start scaling our workflows, and that brings us to the concept of a Claude skill. A skill isn't just a better prompt, it's a completely reusable way of working. Think of it like installing a structural workflow. It contains an instruction file that tells the AI exactly when to trigger, how to handle the task, and it even includes any supporting script the workflow might need. So unlike a standard chatbot where you have to explain the whole process every single time, a skill detects the context and handles the entire execution behind the scenes, automatically. You just define the outcome and the skill does the heavy lifting.
Moving right along to Section 2, Automating Financial Models, the setup phase.
This is step 1 of the data lifecycle. And in the real world, we all know financial data rarely arrives clean. You get these messy PDFs of quarterly filings, or reports that are formatted for humans to read, definitely not for analysts to crunch. Manually, you'd have to extract, organize, map the line items, build out the calculations. It literally takes hours. But with our first AI skill, you just point it at your working directory. In the source example we're exploring today, the skill automatically spots a company named Meridian Industrial Corp. It seamlessly ingests 12 quarters of raw PDF data from 2022 to 2024, extracts it, standardizes it, and boom, instantly produces an error-free Excel model with over 500 formulas, no typing required.
This comparison right here is exactly why this matters for your career trajectory. The old way means losing an entire afternoon manually extracting data, pulling your hair out trying to chase down balance sheet recalculation errors. The new way? You're instantly generating a structured model where every single check passes. The balance sheet balances, the cash flows reconcile perfectly. Actually, in the source example, during this automated setup, this skill caught and corrected a tax calculation error in the forecast logic before it even finalized the file. Think about that. Catching complex tax errors while saving yourself hours of time. That demonstrates the kind of high-level attention to detail that your managers are absolutely going to notice.
All right, Section 3, Bulletproof Reconciliations and Audits, Leadership Through Accuracy.
We all know financial data rarely lives in just one place, and the tiniest misalignments can completely derail a report. Before any analysis can happen, the balances have to tie. Using the official finance plugin, Skill 2 handles the reconciliation end-to-end. It instantly pulls and ties the general ledger, the subledger, and the bank statements. In our source example, it takes a starting variance of $3,287, spots that the GL is overstated, and automatically breaks down exactly why, finding unrecorded bank charges, posting variances, and missing entries. But here is the real game changer. It catches a critical error where revenue was being recorded on a cash basis instead of accrual, which was creating a massive variance. Imagine flagging structural issues like that for management review. It instantly elevates your value to the team.
What really stands out to me here is the proactive power of these tools. 100 days. The reconciliation skill doesn't just match numbers up, it actively tracks aging. Anything that has sat unresolved for over 100 days gets automatically flagged as stale for immediate escalation. So you're no longer just passively carrying forward silent errors. You are actively managing financial risk. Which leads perfectly into skill 3, audit support. Because hey, even if the numbers look correct, the processes producing them might not actually be controlled. This skill evaluates commercial bank data specifically for control issues and categorizes them by severity. It flags material weaknesses, like manually overridden expense totals, negative interest expense misstatements, or formula errors overstating deposits. It also highlights significant deficiencies, like unconfirmed revenue spikes. And then, it automatically outputs all of this into a fully formatted audit committee-ready management memo, complete with root cause analysis and remediation steps. You get to walk into your boss's office and hand them actionable risk management, not just a giant spreadsheet.
Okay, Section 4, building dynamic dashboards, scaling your insights.
Now, let's look at how you share all this brilliant analysis and move your work out of the finance department and into the broader business. Because a spreadsheet is fine for the analyst who build it, but decision makers need to explore data dynamically. Skill 4 uses the official data plugin to handle exactly this. In our example, it processes 168 monthly records of hospital performance data, covering 7 different departments over a 2-year period. It instantly generates interactive charts tracking revenue contribution by department, where we can clearly see the ICU and surgery are the dominant drivers. It tracks critical KPIs like patient volume, operating margins, and net income, complete with dynamic year-over-year comparisons.
But honestly, the most impactful takeaway from the source material here is how it outputs all of this as a single, self-contained HTML file. The data is embedded directly into it. That means there are absolutely 0 external server setups or complicated connections required. You can email this one file to anyone in the organization, they open it up in their web browser, and they have a fully functional, filterable dashboard. They can explore the data themselves without constantly asking finance, without asking you for a new report every single time they want to look at a different department. You are empowering the entire organization while simultaneously freeing up your own time. Win-win.
We're almost there. Section 5, crafting board-ready presentations. The final mile.
Board meetings are where all your hard work finally pays off, but preparing the deck usually means pulling numbers from one file, writing commentary in a Word doc, and building slides in PowerPoint, all while praying you don't make a copy-paste error. Small mismatches erode your credibility so fast with leadership. Skill 5 fixes this by building the presentation programmatically. It follows a tightly controlled timeline, reading the financial inputs, generating the slides, writing the variance commentary, and this is crucial, running an automated quality check. It double-checks that every single number ties perfectly across the statements, the charts, and the commentary. It verifies variance signs are correct, charts are labeled, and ensures that not a single dreaded placeholder remains.
It produces a gorgeous 15-slide deck. And it doesn't just dump charts onto a slide, it actually creates a narrative. By analyzing the gap to budget, the AI frames complex variance drivers into a cohesive, strategic story. It explains that the gap isn't just a straightforward loss. It breaks it down into deliberate investment, supply chain disruptions, and market conditions. It perfectly sets up the outlook and risk slides, completely framing the conversation for the board of directors.
Finally, Section 6, from manual to strategic, the judgment era.
This is it. This is the climactic shift in your career we have been talking about. By deploying these 5 skills, you are fundamentally changing your job description. You're transitioning from what the industry sometimes calls the data monkey, the person extracting data, mapping line items, manually formatting slides, and hunting for broken formulas, to the strategic partner. Your promotion is not going to come from doing the manual grunt work faster. It comes from catching high-level issues, like those cash basis revenue mistakes we talked about earlier. It comes from questioning assumptions, applying your business judgment, reviewing the outputs, and driving high-level decisions. You are shifting from being the doer to the reviewer.
I absolutely love this quote from the source material, and it perfectly encapsulates everything we've covered today. The skills handle execution. Your judgment is what makes the output worth presenting. AI takes over that repetitive execution layer. It builds the model, it reconciles the ledger, it formats the slide deck, and that leaves you completely free to apply the high-level financial judgment and deep analysis that leadership truly values. You essentially become the strategic mind overseeing the entire system.
So I'll leave you with this final provocative thought. Are you ready to stop formatting data and start actually driving the business forward? The repetitive tasks in finance are officially solved. It's time to step into your new strategic role, elevate your value, and go get that promotion. You can grab these skills from the community resources mentioned in our source material, install them, and start transforming your workflow today.
Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will see you next time.